Okay, hi! So first thing, I am making my tried and true, use it every day without fail, day cream, okay? So, phase one, I'm doing this not in the kitchen because the kitchen just has dreadful, dreadful colours for the filming of things. It's just all wrong. So that will be fabulous. And now I boiled the kettle, which is over in the kitchen. But what I want to do essentially is just melt down the beeswax and the Olive M1000 natural emulsifying wax. So beeswax 200 grams, Olive M100. So it is largely based on beeswax. Originally the recipe was just beeswax, and then I learned about emulsifying waxes, and it changed my life and my products and gave me the ability to use pump packs. They're great. I love emulsifying wax. Ah! Okay, so I'm going to put some water in that, and then I'm going to measure out my other ingredients. I'll bring this over here, then I don't need to go back and forth for it, because kettles are not immobile objects. Ha ha ha! What I'm going to do is I'm going to pour everything out, let you take a little break, and then come back and show you. Basically, I melt down the wax, I put together all of the other ingredients, add them together, and then we start with our water phase. So this is my certain Skinner, which means the sun is shining. I probably said it wrong because jeg er ikke dansk. I wish I was Danish, but I'm not. I'm Australian. So I'm melting down beeswax and olive M. I'm going to be putting together olive, shea, avocado, wheat germ, coconut, aloe vera, and our magic ingredients: red raspberry seed oil, zinc, titanium dioxide. Those are our three, the biggest, the highest scorers on the SPF and UV blocking scale. And there's one more thing. Oh yes, I got some pea protein, which is supposed to be an amazing antioxidant and brightener for your skin. Which, hey, who doesn't need that as we get older? Stopping Jenny's video camera, which I'm just learning how to use. Pop a lid on there to see if we can speed that up. Into my freshly boiled 650 mils of water, or 650 grams, I'm popping our preservative. Oh, I need the weight. Oh, scale, that's why it was there. Let's start that, yes. So we're using preservatives that are approved for use in organic products. So we're going to use, as I have written here, potassium sorbate, 30 grams, perfect, water soluble, so they have to go into the water phase. I'm adding sodium benzoate, because I've found a lot of products combine potassium sorbate and sodium benzoate. 30 grams of that, so we'll take that to 60. And these are, very few people have reactions to these. They're in lots of organic products or natural products. So I'm very comfortable using them. I've used them a lot. I made a lot of things earlier on in my skincare career that were completely preservative free. And yeah, preservative free is great for all sorts of things, but once you're doing something in a lotion that has a water phase, it will spoil. It will, no matter how much you use distilled water and boiled water, unless you use it immediately. If you want to keep it around, even in the fridge, well, in the fridge it'll probably be alright. Yeah, that's diluted, just dissolved. Add a bit of lucidal just to be sure. This is radish root ferment filtrate. So just take that. Yep, parfait. And that is all the preservative we need. There's no parabens or methyl parabens or any of that faff. just some very simple, organic approved preservatives. Anyways, that I boiled that, and then put the preservatives into it. We've got our oils measured out, we've got our waxes melting very, very slowly. We still need to add the red raspberry seed, which has an SPF of up to 50. Zinc oxide and titanium dioxide just boosts a little bit how much of a barrier you're getting from the sun. And being under the hole in the ozone layer here, we do have to think about that. But really, using this as a day cream that I just put on first thing in the morning, I want it to have a fair punch to keep my face, I put it down my arms, it can go wherever is going to be exposed to the sun. Right. Okay, that's all I can show you for the time being. We just have to wait for that to hurry up. Okay, we finally have melted beeswax. I've gone ahead and bar mixed up my oils mixture so it's all runny. The coconut oil is not in chunks. Oh, there was a little chunk there. It's interesting to see what happens when that goes in, because it's like the beeswax suddenly hardens up again. Actually, maybe with the next lotion video I do, I'll warm them at the same time and add them warm to each other. What I find happens now, however, is a little bit of magic in that if we just bar mix this as it warms up, it all happens pretty quickly. There's a lot of bar mixing from this point on. But we do still need for that to entirely melt, because you can see how quickly it wants to just turn straight back into beeswax, and we don't want any gritty chunks in our lotion. Now, you may ask, why do I do this? Why does that woman not just go to the shop like the rest of us? I actually crunched the numbers on what it would cost if I didn't make all of our skincare, and my 17-year-old daughter and I, and perhaps less enthusiastically, but also my 15-year-old son, were all going to the shop and buying high quality, well-made, good skincare. What is good skincare? Skincare that works for you, skincare that you don't feel contains toxic ingredients. I'll let you be the judge of what you feel are toxic ingredients, because not everything natural is good for you. Okay, and not everything that's synthetic is fabulous either. So you've got to find that mix of where it works for you. So I'm just letting that heat up, because we do want to let it get nice and hot, so that we cook off, we heat out any nasties. And then at the end, once this has reached 60, because I don't want my really expensive products like red raspberry seed and pea protein, or my essential oils, I don't want them heating and heating and heating. I want to just add them when it gets to a nice hot place, and add them as it's starting to cool, so that the goodness of those is not boiled away. So the red raspberry seed oil, well, I've written glycerin here again. One does possess glycerin, should one add glycerin? I don't know, I have written it here and here. I'm very old-fashioned with my recipes. I tend to scribble all over the book, and when I've made changes I make them in red. So this is my recipe book. I should get a much more fancy recipe book, really, because I do have a passion for doing this. And I think I've discovered of myself, other than a complete flibbity-gibbet who can't remember where she put her thermometer, I'm a maker. I enjoy making things. Ooh, that's warming up. And whether or not people buy them is not really the point for me. I make them because I love them, and they work for my family and for me. I know what's in them. I feel safe using them with my children when they were using this when they were really young. It's actually what started me off, is this lotion. in a different form before I knew about emulsifying waxes, so it was much thicker and had a tendency to separate ever so slightly. Okay, that needs some more time heating up. So when the kids were young, they would just be constantly slathered in muck at school, which is all you can call that super cheap, generic brand sunscreen that they chuck on your children if they go to daycare or in primary school or after school care. And I didn't like it. And my son particularly, he has this type of, I think it's called folliculitis or something, where his follicles get clogged with anything that's too comedogenic, I think is a word. It's too thick essentially and too oily and too greasy. It just clogs up his pores and he gets covered head to toe in pimples. And so I just said, no, the kids are fine, they'll use the stuff I put on them. And that's how we started down this path, and I just haven't turned back. So I hate the greasy, yucky feeling of commercial sunscreens. I'll only use them if I'm going to be in the blazing sun, and that's pretty rare for me. Tips, so yeah, I try to keep things clean and simple. And I know what's in it, I know what I'm using. They last me for ages. I think that's a commercial flaw in my plan too, is that everything I make lasts for ages. So people contact me about once a year and say, can I have another jar of this? Because I make things that last for a really long time, because I make them with myself in mind, thinking, well, I want a large jar that I don't have to keep replacing all the time. Yeah, not the best business plan. But then who said I was really a businesswoman? I'm a maker. I make music, which I'm actually doing full time now. That's where I put most of my time and energy. But I decided, I was watching, I'm part of the Savvy Musician Academy. Any musicians seeing this, it is worth the investment. I bought the online musician program. I'm just learning so much and I feel so empowered. And one of the things they talk about is having a sister brand. And I was like, I might already have something I could use for that. 50. Patience is a virtue, we very rarely see her. Seldom found in someone and never in Marina. Today, moved all of this out of the kitchen and over here because we have no room in the kitchen when all of this is there. I've changed the recipe to be more wheat germ because wheat germ is very high in vitamin E and it also has an SPF of around 25. You have to take these things with a grain of salt as to how high the SPF of an individual oil is. Results, I am like never sunburnt, and I'm very careful in the sun, it's true, but this is what I use. This is the product I use. I don't have issues with getting tanned or getting sunburned. So I stick with this. And I don't wear foundation, ever, 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 ever. My daughter, beautiful girl, my darling Genevieve, put some foundation on me for a photo shoot, and I hated it. I'm always telling her to watch my videos and she never does, so I'm saying that. It looked fine, but I just thought it doesn't actually look better than my skin. So why not just let my skin breathe and not be like putting on all these layers and taking out all the color and then adding the color back. Come on, come on, come on, come on. You can do it, man. I believe in you. Oh, so close to 60. Alright, so we're going to do a little bit more weighing out. Tried to buy some new scales the other day, but another thing that must be imported because I can't get it at the moment. So, we shall start with our zinc. So we want 80, yes, both sides will need that. It used to be 40 for ages, but then now I make this in a much larger quantity. So So you can have some, and I can keep some. Got the jars all labelled up. Oh, we're at 60. Okay, excellent. Yay! So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Essentially, a lotion is beeswax, emulsifying wax, oil, heated together, and then your water phase, which is just water. You want to be careful and boil the water and make sure everything's clean and sterile, but essentially it is wax, oil, and water. You mix it together. Making lotions is so simple. Okay, so there's our zinc oxide. Now I did have a bit of titanium dioxide. I'll sprinkle in a dab of that because it does a good job for all sorts of things with the skin. How much should I say? 30. Beautiful. Now, I might plot my ylang. Oh, we're getting rid of this little DB lacquer here because we need a bit of it. 20. This stuff costs a fortune, so appreciate it, peeps. That's why I've decided to only make a few products now instead of just getting all excited and being the maker I am. Because all of these little jars cost a lot of money. Okay, so that's 20 now of lemon myrtle. One of the reasons I put lemon myrtle into this, okay, so the ylang ylang is very soothing and gives you that beautiful bass note. And then, okay, we just had a camera switcheroo. So I've just added the essential oils. I have no idea if the camera caught that. This is still sitting at 60, so it's been sitting there long enough now. Fabuloso. So pop that in there. Oh, plant vegetable derived. Right, let's try again. 60 of glycerine. Right, so I just need to add my red raspberry seed oil. I'll pop it in this and then it can be. No, there's no more room in this. This is full, so we'll just chuck our water in there. All in together this fine weather. Here. So we want 80 of this. This stuff is so good for your skin. It's full of antioxidants, it's got anti-aging properties, and it has a really high SPF. Red raspberry seed oil, people. Live it, love it. Pea protein I've not used before, so we're just going to add maybe 40 of this. Let's see. More in the night cream because we want an anti-aging, antioxidant kind of thing. It's a peptide, so we don't want it as much in our day cream as we do in our night cream. Raspberry seeds and so just checking I've added everything. So I hate to get to the end of this and go, oh no, I totally forgot about blah. Okay, so now we pop in the zinc and the titanium dioxide and give it a good old blast. Checking I haven't forgotten anything. I haven't. Okay. And look, immediately we have a white concoction. That's not the zinc, that is the water and the emulsifying wax and the beeswax and the oils turning into a lotion. An emulsification. My bench here is super duper clean. Everything's been super duper cleaned today. Smells divine. Look at that. It'll thicken up a bit. Not too much though, you'd be surprised to know. It will thicken up a bit. I put lots on. You need such a small amount of this every day when you use it. Backs of hands are a great place to put it. I do this a lot during the day. Not with that much of it, obviously. I hate the feeling of getting moisturizer all over the palms of my hands and the tips of my fingers. I tend to squid a bit onto the back of my hands and rub it in. But it is fantastic. You can see just how quickly that has turned into a superb, delightful, glidey, lovely, lovely lotion. And that is, as you can see, enough for quite a lot of my arm. If I hadn't been playing with it, I could have rubbed it all straight up my arms and shown you more clearly. But anyway, this is what I put on my face. I would have put it on early this morning. I've been working in the heat, so my skin looks a little bit oily now. But the fact is, I have really oily skin. Feels so good. But I found the best thing I could do for my skin is actually use products with quite a bit of oil in them. It takes oil to cut through oil. My cleansers are full of oils, my moisturizers are full of oils, and they just work. I don't get breakouts, my skin is great. Maybe it'll work for you too. Okay, there's nothing more to be done. I'll give that another whiz in a little while, but this is it. One giant container of my Solen Skinner. Solen Skinner, as people call it. The sun is shining because it will protect you from the elements. It's not a sunscreen, I'm not allowed to call it a sunscreen, but it's an everyday cream. Thanks for joining me.